Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Dark Face of Creation, Sadhguru. The thumbnail, where does everything come from? Interesting question. I saw that as I was scrolling through his list of videos. I was like, well, it would be interesting to hear what Sadhguru has to say. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't think I'll say very much, but we'll see.
So that dimension which I am referring to as a source of creation right now, what is its nature? Which is what I believe scientists are trying to figure out in some way. So, if I have to describe it in some articulation, we can only say it's nothingness. When I say nothingness, the moment I say nothingness, immediately in normal English language it has a negative connotation of not being anything or not worth anything. If I say you are nothing, it is understood as you're no good. So I'm not referring to nothing in that sense. Probably we would understand it better if you put a hyphen between no and thing. It is not a thing. It is non-physical in nature. So whatever you try to say about it in definition or in description is bound to be wrong even before you utter it, because it's non-physical in nature.
It's really weird to say, where does everything come from? It comes from no thing. Things come from no thing. It seems contradictory or impossible, just because obviously in the world we see everything come from something. Now he's sitting there saying everything comes from no thing.
So this non-physical nature, if you look at it, it has a fringe nature. It has a core nature which is absolutely non-physical, and it has a fringe nature which is dark, and it's a transition from non-physical to physical. I don't know, we should ask an ophthalmologist why it is so, but when I really look at the sun or even the moon, particularly when I see the moon, people always… the sun is very much true, but it could be because you are getting blinded by the sun, which I don't, because I used to just stare at the sun for hours at one time. I always see a black halo around the sun, not a white halo. The same with the moon. I think I've asked so many people, they all see white halo. But I always see a black halo around the sun, because I see the same thing within myself. Probably people will think I'm the devil if I say this. The very core of what this is, around that there's always a black halo. And this halo gradually is transiting from non-physical nature to physical nature, which is dark in nature.
Halo as in… probably means halo? A halo's typically a circle. I'm assuming that's what he means. And kind of weird how it's being spelled by Google though. Saying it's a H-A-L-L-O, which halo is H-A-L-O.
So, we traditionally, in yogic terminology, we say, Shiva, when he sits still, he is nothing. The word Shiva means… Shiva means that which is not. That is, he is not. What is creation. What is not is the source of creation.
Oh, I'm gonna rewind that actually.
The word Shiva means… Shiva means that which is not. That is, he is not. What is creation. What is not is the source of creation.
Okay.
So when you look at this aspect, the very core aspect is a non-existence. And immediately next to that, before the physicality happens, there is a dark face We call something dark, and always in language
Negative.
and literature and in normal social connotation, the word dark is always understood as remote or even threatening or dangerous or negative. This is essentially because of the way our visual apparatus are made. Suppose you were an owl, you always would think dark as a very bright thing. So, the human perspective of dark being a negative aspect is a very limited way of looking at it.
I'd probably rephrase that. An owl in a pure darkness would be able to see. Owl has low light vision. I'm being technical here, but oh man, I was actually thinking about something there. But it's not that um, it's basically because we're afraid of the unknown, and darkness tends to hide things. When we can't see, regardless of whether it's pure darkness or just low light, even some people with low light can't see. There's some people who wear glasses, and if they don't have their glasses, even in almost in daylight, they can't see. But it's this fear of the unknown. I would say that translates a little bit better because it's not necessarily darkness that we fear. It's more along the lines of the unknown, what it hides, what we don't see. It's in a sense like a little bit of a control. Because if we're able to see something, we're able to control whatever we need to control. An example would be in pure darkness, if something is coming at you and you can't see it, you can't control yourself in a sense. As in you don't know it's coming at you, so you don't know to move out the way. We'll put that in that same example in the perspective that there's a light. You see someone come at you, you have control over your body to move out the way, so you don't get hit by whatever is coming at you. You have control. Either control of the object, control of yourself, control of the situation. You know, it's the unknown is what we really fear, I believe.
Our sense of vision, essentially. So when I say because of lack of terminology, or if I invent a new word, it won't be any better than dark, so I settle for dark. So this dark dimension is where you can understand the nature of creation. Beyond that, the total non-existent state, that is not a place to understand, that's a place to just merge, which is not the interest of a scientist. And mathematics will not go there. So, in the yogic tradition, we say when he moves, Shiva is a dark one. Always Shiva has been referred to as a dark one. In his ultimate state of Shiva, as Sadashiva, he is utterly still and nobody can feel him unless you're willing to become one with it. But when he moves, his initial phase of movement is dark. When he really comes out and becomes a part of the world, then he's light.
Mm.
So this is, in my perception, somewhere people who saw the nature of creation within themselves are trying to explain this in a personified way. In his core, he is absolutely still. You cannot know where he is. You can only become one with him. If you're willing to be sucked into him, it's all right. But if you want to, you know, in any way transact with him, it is not possible there. But when he begins to stir, he's dark. There, if you want to go, you need courage. You are willing to transcend. You are willing to leave everything that you know and enter into a completely different area where you do not know what's the end for you. Or if you want to transact with him properly, when he becomes light, which is creation, you can transact with him, you can see everything as Shiva and experience it, you can be devout about it, you can worship it, all that. But when you go to the dark phase or beyond that, there is no worship, there is no nothing, it is just dissolution. Which today I feel the modern physics is very much going in this direction. According to the law, according to the yogic law, how it goes is, Shiva was asleep. That means he became totally dead. But he's there, he's still, absolutely. And then Parvati or Shakti came and moved around him 3 times.
Specifically 3 times.
Then he stirred up. It's from then creation happened. They clearly say they did not copulate. She just went around him 3 times. And the basic force of creation began to happen, which was not physical, which was a transition. So this dark face around Shiva began to expand. And then Parvati said, "Is this your creation? Look at this, what you've created, just one dark wave of nothing. Is this what you're capable of?" Then he woke up. And then they copulated. Out of their copulation, the whole creation happened.
It could be a metaphor for
It is a metaphor.
scientific understanding of forces and particles.
We have experiments where, in absolute vacuum state, if you apply electromagnetic force, suddenly virtual protons and virtual
Virtual
neutrons
particles
happen.
come. Yes, yes,
It doesn't even have to touch.
yes,
Just around that, if you apply
Yes.
electromagnetic force,
yes.
virtual protons and virtual neutrons happen. So he said, what you're saying is very similar. She just goes around
Yes.
and creation begins.
The spontaneous creation
Yeah.
of particles happens, and they come in pairs. They're always created in pairs.
That's what
which
they…
is interesting.
they happen in pairs and then they copulate.
Yes,
They touched each other.
and that annihilates to create energy.
Virtual, though. What does it mean by virtual?
Those particles, when they annihilate each other, the way the energy forces work is that the electromagnetic forces around create from nothingness a pair of particles, and the pair of particles, when they join, they copulate, actually spontaneously results in the creation of energy. This is a very well accepted scientific principle and verified in experiment.
Okay, interesting. Dark face of creation is really weird. I'm guessing the dark face of creation is kind of like the… well, hold on real quick. So basically, the dark face of creation is kind of not literally dark face, but more along the lines of… to me, it almost seems like the evil side or the hidden side or the unknown side of creation. Again, dark being that of can't see, don't know, hidden, and of course bad sometimes, most of the time actually. I believe that's what a lot of people believe, but they don't really see it as… they see it as bad because you don't know that it's not good to not know. So dark or black, especially if, like anything that hides anything, is always considered to be bad because you can't see it and therefore you can't react to it. So, and then this one, it's not blackness or darkness. It's more along the lines of nothingness, like you said at the very beginning. And the no thing, which is interestingly enough, I was going to say immaterium, but the non-material realm, essentially, which is considered dark, I believe, and if I understood him correctly in this video, which is interestingly enough because in science there's this thing called dark matter. I remember hearing about it. Hopefully it's not fiction that I heard, and hopefully that's something that's real, which would be, again, something that we cannot see, and it's not something physical in this world. I believe it's really weird. How can they prove dark matter exists if it's not a physical thing. But I believe it's through maybe mathematics or something like that. Not sure. I think Lakhani as well was kind of studying on this. Um, it was it dark matter? And I know Lakhani talks about the quantum realm and quantum physics quite a lot. He was very deep into that. And I think maybe dark matter and the quantum realm are maybe very similar. But again, interestingly enough, I don't know I don't know if this story is true or not. Someone would have to let me know. And the sheer fact that, again, if this story is very true, how it is a metaphor for I hate kind of, how to say, like stories in the past, because there's millions of stories in the past, and some of them just so happens to be true. And again, I don't know how much of the story of Shiva is true in terms of nature, because this is going to be, well, not nature, but nature itself, because nature is part of creation. So how, okay, uh, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, even though it's literally in this video, but it's Shiva's wife, essentially. It's very, again, very, I wonder why 3 times though. He said walked around him 3 times. I'm wondering if that's relevant to particles as well, where it will revolve 3 times before they start to touch each other, to copulate, as they say. If that's true too, it's like, geez, that's kind of a crazy story, how accurate it is to certain scientific things in our world. So that's my reaction to Dark Face of Creation. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up to that, and below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next vid.